promotes exploration discoveries and applies advanced research findings to develop new tools for monitoring the atmospheric oceans and ocean resources. The agency also provides critical national data infrastructure that allows scientists everywhere to monitor the continuous evolution of conditions in the ocean. NOAA research continues on numerous successes at addressing real-world problems. Urgent emerging purposes of NOAA's ongoing research aimed at better understanding, predicting the impact of ocean acidification on ocean resources and the implications of reduced Arctic ice for shipping, fisheries, and the global climate. Next, current findings establishing volume 14. President Obama's budget proposal appears to be getting into the ocean and great first step towards strong funding for ocean health programs next year. The aspect of the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration's top-line budget number is sufficient when it comes, and the National Marine Fisheries Service both sees healthy increases as well. The White House demonstrated support for increasing funding at NOAA. NOAA programs lead cutting-edge research on ocean health and supporting smart ocean management. NOAA is also central agency tasked with ending overfishing. Notably, the scientific budget would provide a much-needed $15 million for ocean acidification research, an increase of $9 million. Next, solvency. NOPP fails. No actual agency participation. Tony 2004. Agencies tend to look after their own wholly owned priorities first, leaving promising cooperative programs such as NOPP to language. This has not happened because NORL stage meetings are rarely attended by agency leaders, thus making NORL a forum that can only present and discuss ideas and programs, but cannot make decisions. Agencies do not budget major funds to NOPP because to do so would be to relinquish those funds to collective use rather than better define more urgent problems. Next, there's no shortage of jobs in STEM fields. All studies conclude next. Title back from March 9th. Yeah, okay. There's little credible evidence for the claimed widespread shortages in the U.S. science and engineering workforce. Science and engineering applications are leading edge of economic competitiveness in an increasingly globalized world. All have concluded that U.S. higher education produces far more science and engineering graduates annually than there are SNE job openings. The only disagreement is whether it's 100% or 20% more. American high school students are taking more math and science courses than ever before. The evidence all points to high levels of student interest, high performance levels among the students most likely to pursue majors and careers in science and engineering, and large numbers of graduates in these fields. Next, major climate data is false. New studies or models don't exist. IPCC wrong. Effects of greenhouse gases and global warming vastly overstated. Mid 2011. Many are still operating under the perception that current global warming models are good enough to make drastic economic decisions. In a new study, a prestigious former NASA climatologist examined data between 2001 and 2011 gathered by the Advanced Microwave Scanning Radiometer Sensor. The data reveals yet another thorough analysis of atmospheric heat dissipation, an important factor in heating or cooling. Earth's atmosphere shed heat at a much faster rate than was predicted in widely used global warming models. Data shows the Earth's atmosphere to be trapping less heat. That means the outcomes of any sort of human-based warming caused by the emission of carbon, greenhouse gases, and other compounds is likely overstated. The data predictions of models used by the IPCC and researchers are likely flawed. There's a huge discrepancy between the data and the forecast that is especially big over the oceans. This is a critical conclusion as it shows that the secondary indirect trapping from atmospheric water may be far less than previously predicted.
Will you be typing? Alright, well first, so what about NOAA makes it so special? Like why should we prefer NOAA over NOPP?
Okay, so NOAA already, the funds for NOAA is already sufficient, while as in NOPP is not. And NOAA basically does what NOPP does. It exploits new discoveries and applies advanced research. It has cutting edge technology, and
I think that's fine. But other than that, how long has NOAA been solving this aspect?
Well, not sure how long they've been doing it, but they've already helped identify the cause of the ozone hole over Antarctica. They've had numerous successes in addressing real world problems. Yeah.
Okay. Regarding your STEM jobs are no shortage evidence. Never mind. regarding solvency, saying that NLPP fails. How's there no actual agency participation when NLPP is actually like incredibly successful an actual agency?
Well, so you said their NOPP doesn't have funds right now. Well, agency leaders, they're not really participating. They don't really want to use funds on program as NOPP. Rather, they can just use it to fund better defined, more urgent programs.
Well, actually, I mean that's because the NOPP doesn't have a budget and a coordination in the status quo, so.
That's fine.
Okay. I'll take 1 minute of time. Is that 1 minute?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's over a minute.
Okay.
I usually don't yell out a minute to people,
Oh,
but go
okay.
ahead.
Never mind. Alright. Order will be same order as opponent. Inerrancy, stem, array, and solvency. Alright. First is inherency. My opponent says that NOA solves now, but we need a new agency for exploration because NOAA is limited to pre-existing oceanic knowledge, not exploration. Pyramid 14. You would think that NOAA is the NASA for exploring the ocean. That NOAA's mission is focusing on ocean conditions. NOAA is the ground crew while NASA takes charge of satellites. However, this partnership can only go so far. Cut the card there. So this is basically saying that NOAA can't solve now because NOAA is only limited to pre-existing oceanic knowledge. We're here to dedicate funding for exploration, and only NOPP is able to do that. Next, new funding is vital to effective exploration and NRC. NOAA does not have the withdrawal to undertake interdisciplinary global ocean exploration program. High allocations are needed to support a proper comprehensive program. The budget for NOAA's ocean exploration is indicative of limitations of U.S. ocean exploration. Fiscal limitations have constrained NOAA's ability to carry a comprehensive exploration program. Data management is not funded, so the oceanic research community has little access to information. So basically, they said that current funding is sufficient, but that's actually not. I mean, that's good enough, but we need a new, better funding because it's vital to more effective exploration. Current funding may be sufficient, but we need more than that. NLPP new funding for the NLPP budget will improve coordination and more effective exploration. Moving on to STEM advantage. Alright. serious lack of STEM talent now halt 5.51. Pipeline of STEM talent continues to lag as need for tech professional continues to soar. Numbers still hover close to same levels that existed in the year 2000, 14 years ago, and remain still the same. The education pipeline is still current and future jobs that require STEM skills still isn't producing enough talent. Lack of progress is in attracting women and minorities to STEM pursuit is troubling. Prefer the Hall 14 card because it's more recent than the STEM is actually the opponent's STEM job increasing card. Okay, moving on to marine science advantage. Warming is acidification and deoxygenation are destroying ocean ecosystem. Oligar 1013. Previous analysis focused on ocean warming and acidification factoring and predictable changes. New studies show that no corner of the world ocean will be untouched by climate climate change by 2100. When you look at the world ocean, most will suffer the effects of warming, acidification, and reductions in ocean and productivity. Card there. Market productivity. Yeah, they say that major climate data is flawed, but also prefer our evidence because our evidence for 2014 well theirs is it's 2011. I'm sure that major climate data would have changed and more experts have studied on that, and so yeah. Moving on to solvency. Right. Okay. The NLPP model is impressively successful, increasing its exploration focuses vital to interagency coordination and public visibility. Point 4. The patchwork for agencies and processes to oversee the nation's ocean interests is simply not up to the challenge. The report recommends substantial restructuring at the federal level, including mechanisms for making ocean policy decisions through a high-level interagency governance structure. Interagency coordination is essential to avoid duplication and strengthen the scientific basis for ocean management, market management. So basically, they say that my opponent says that NLPP fails because there's no actual agency participation, but the NLPP model is empirically successful, and it's increasing exploration and focusing on interagency coordination, which they did fail to mention in the 1NC, and it has more public visibility, and it's through that public visibility that it's encouraging more STEM jobs to increase. Because there's a serious lack of STEM talent right now, as I mentioned, the Hall 14 evidence. Yeah, I'm done. Open for process.
So you said that that NOAA is limited to pre-existing knowledge in one of your cards. Where does it say that the NOPP is like not limited to pre-existing knowledge? How do you know that it's not limited to pre-existing knowledge?
Oh, because it says that in our Bierman 14 evidence, it can benefit us in many ways. We can have better understanding of global warming, better ways to
Okay, so my buying card says that NOAA already aimed at researching ocean acidification and global climate. That's much of your advantage. So why do you have to fund NOPP?
I'm sorry. Where?
Like where NOAA is already solving for ocean acidification, global climate. Why do you have to fund the NOPP? Wouldn't that be just like waste money when we're already?
Which evidence is that? Is that
my fine et al.
Fine. Oh, wait. It says that it's currently like
researching ocean acidification, global climate. So why do you have to fund NOPP?
Well, that's 2013. I mean, our evidence is 2014, but it hasn't changed.
So you're saying they're not researching that anymore?
Even if they were to, like, we have better knowledge right now because we're like, in the status quo right now.
Okay. What makes the NOPP different from the NOAA?
Better in terms of research and tech development because NOAA in your fine evidence
Okay, wait. Are we experiencing warming right now?
Yes.
So why aren't we experiencing these like so-called extinction impacts?
Well, because warming has a long time frame and it takes a long
So
time.
it's not urgent, right?
Hmm?
It's not urgent, the plan.
Sure, it may not be urgent, but other impacts such as acidification and deoxygenation and low drops in like ocean oxygen level concentrations are also impacting. So even if warming were
It's
to
time.
happen,
Prep?
Yeah, can I use 3 minutes?
Yeah, you can use all your prep. That's time.
Okay, so first of all, NOPP and NOAA are the same thing because extend our fine card. They both the NOAA is already solving for ocean acidification, global climate. They're already although they say opponent says that we're limited to pre-existing knowledge. Our fine card says we've been focused on new research, cutting edge technology. And they didn't really give evidence in the cross-state saying that NOAA was any different from NOPP. They only said that the NOAA has like better coordination, but that's obviously not true because they have no agency participation. It's not like impartially successful at all. People prefer NOAA over NOPP. We've already have sufficient funding. The NOAA is a lot more it's a lot more preferable than NOPP. The plan is also not necessary at all right now because Crossix, he already admitted that his advantage, the marine science advantage, is not urgent at all right now because he said global warming is not urgent. So there's really no need to fund this plan. We're really just losing our money by sharing if we just by funding NOAA, like we can solve the advantages he claims to solve. But if we try funding NOPP, we're only splitting the funds, which is pretty bad. His plan that would make his plan not inherent because um, it's not really necessary, and NOAA it's already been proven that NOAA has been already into this research. They've been doing what NOPP has already done, except they have funds, um, federal funds, and they have actual agency participation.
Process? No.
No.
Alright. I'll take the rest of my time.
Alright. That's time.
Alright. Yeah, run that the same. Okay. First and foremost, I'll be answering his inherency cards. He's repeatedly says that NOPP and the NOAA organizations are both the same, and but except for that NOAA, so they should go for the NOAA. But that's not necessarily true because we should go for NOPP because extend our NRC evidence because new funding is vital to effective exploration. There are fiscal limitations to effective exploration. The current status quo has an NOA leading research on exploration, but that's not enough. We need to start putting funding towards NOPP because that leads to more effective exploration. Yeah, and regarding the STEM advantage, so yeah, I mean, he in the 2NC he didn't say anything about my answer to his card, so that's that. Regarding his statement saying that warming is not urgent, and so the time doesn't matter. I also said in the process that there are other impacts besides warming, such as acidification and deoxygenation. And following up with that, extend the Dingle 11 evidence in our 1AC, saying that that'll lead to not focusing on acidification and all these other impacts other than warming will lead to mass extinction. Scientists are warning of Murray massacre. Threat of mass extinction is real and does not apply just to the sea, just because it's ocean acidification. If we go along as we are now, there's an increasing risk that we'll be entering one of the mass extinction events and conditions that are unsustainable to humans. And so in the end, it's just impacting. Outweighing the impacts, because if we don't do the plan, as you said, then mass extinction will occur, and yeah, yeah, that's basically it. Wait, may I ask how much time I had left in the last?
53 seconds. John, I also don't think that you've shared a document with me.
Oh, I shared it with Elsa, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, just share it with Brian at sffi.org so I can move some stuff over.
Yeah, got it.
I just took all the notes in Hesu, so. So anyway, overall, this David was pretty good. Just a couple things. One is just try to incorporate some of the tips we were talking about earlier. I said like extend 1AC evidence. You were reading a bunch of cards for the AF that were like not things that you necessarily had to read cards on. You could have just extended 1AC evidence. So I said for every 1AC answer that you make, it's like trades off with like the arguments your opponent makes. Like you could spend more time on like more damning arguments, but like you've already answered those arguments in the 1AC. So like cards should really only be read against things the 1AC didn't answer, or like new arguments you didn't predict that are already in your 1AC. On the neg, you sort of made this argument that like I thought it was good that you were identifying like why the plan, it would affect the plan. It's sort of in your tagline. It like embedded an impact claim to your argument and sort of set it up. However, you made things like arguments like makes the plan not inherent, but it's like I don't know why that means the affirmative doesn't lose. Like it usually needs an impact, like it's a voting issue, stock issue, prima facie burden, etc. But also it kind of like if you don't want to go that route, it also like complicates the advantage because if you win that there's things in the status quo that are moving in that direction, it makes it hard for that. So you have to like impact it one of two ways. One, they're very traditional, it's a stock issue. If the plan is being done now, then like it makes it impossible to be neg, and there needs to be a clear division of ground, vote negative on the stock issue burden. Or it sort of like complicates the ability of the AF to resolve their advantage, because if there are things in the status quo that are moving in the direction of doing things similar to the plan, then it probably resolves a lot of the advantages, and it means there's not a reason to do the AF. At least minimizes the risk that the case is a good idea. I thought both cross X's were good. Sometimes like don't get like, it wasn't like you got testy or pushy in either of the cross X's, but it seems like you could like, you want a command that you want a certain answer. Like if you feel that both of you all wanted an answer to something that like you weren't getting, and you just sort of just have to like lessen it down. Like no team is ever gonna. Sometimes you can walk them into getting the answer you need, but like they're never gonna like willingly just give you the answer you always want. They're always gonna try to fight you on it. That's the point of debate. So you just sort of have to understand that and like move on it when it happens. And then like the last thing I put was just like need to fill your speech time. Leaving time on the clock causes you to miss out on chances to win debates. Two ways. It's like first, it doesn't allow you to close the doors, and second, it like doesn't allow you to like leave a good lasting memory in the judge's mind. Like you have to like done a good job just like decimating a team if you're just gonna be like, we're done, we don't need this extra minute. Usually it just looks like, you probably have undercovered something. So it's just like a ethos thing plus like an actual like structural, gotta make sure that like you leave, anytime you leave on the clock is just like leaving it on the table and making sure that you can't close those doors.